Welcome back to the Energy Evolution Exchange stage. I'm Amy Sweezy. We're here at OTC 26. And we are, of course, talking to our live audience here in Houston, but we also have a global audience that is watching us live streaming right now all around the world. So my next guest is Ammar Sabbagh. Ammar is the head of Business Development Enterprise 5G with Ericsson, and the title of his presentation is the Connected Energy Enterprise, extending OT connectivity beyond the platform to pipelines, terminals, and refineries. So we're getting connected today, Ammar. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So first of all, let's just talk about what are some of the challenges right now with the existing technologies.
So the challenges that we have seen in the upstream, we see the windshield times for an engineer to go to the site, whether it's offshore or onshore, is cost $10,000 a day, and really a trip. And this is a maintenance and operation task that they have to do it once every 2 weeks or once every week. The second thing in the midstream, the bottleneck effect. The bottleneck, when you are in the midstream, taking the oil from the upstream, from the oil rigs all the way to the refinery or to the storage, you have to ensure that there is a continuous flow of the oil. If you have any hiccups, that any problem on one side that the other side is not aware of it, it's going to cause a huge bottleneck. And the bottleneck cost is around $300,000 a day. The last thing I want to mention is turnarounds. Turnarounds, I'm dealing with a refinery that they have 50 workers only. But during the turnarounds, which happen 2 to 3 years, they get around 2,000 to 3,000 workers coming from different companies working on the turnarounds. And those people require connectivity, they require communication, they require monitoring the gas, because they are shutting down the operation. And the goal of the operation manager or the turnaround manager is to cut the cost and to cut the time. So no incidents, he will get a bonus. Zero fatality or injuries, get a bonus. Shortening the turnarounds is also a bonus. So this costs $7 million daily. So as you can see, those issues are not really technical. They are operational issues and financial. And that's what the energy industry is facing.
Okay, and so then, can the existing technologies solve these challenges?
So,
if they could, we would have already solved them, right?
Exactly. Existing technology, what we have in the field now, we have LoRa, which is low power sensors, which is great for non-critical application, just monitoring vibration, heat. But this industry is a lot of critical infrastructure. So you really need to monitor everything without losing connectivity. LoRa loses connectivity sometimes, and you are blind. So that's one issue about LoRa when you try to implement asset condition management or even digital twin. The second thing is what we see is the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was created for enterprise, not for industries. So Wi-Fi makes coverage using access points, but the access points have handover problems. So when you move from one access point to another access point, you have to drop and then reconnect. So that's a concern when you want to do mobility. And Wi-Fi is not secure. And that's really the highest problem for the industry. They want cybersecurity. They cannot afford hacking, or they cannot afford any hiccups in the network. So what happens in the first discussion we talk to oil and gas, they ask about cybersecurity. When we pass this, and we usually pass it immediately, then we start to talk about the solution and how it fits in their environment. Those two technologies, especially Tetra was created 50 years ago in certain era for certain use cases. Wi-Fi was for coverage, data coverage. Now what the operational and maintenance team wants to have a solid infrastructure that has low latency, that has big broadband, and has cybersecurity proof. One thing that's coming now these days in discussion with oil and gas, they are saying future proofing. So they want to future proof their technology. So our solution is a 4G, 5G solution, and we are working on the 6G. And as you have seen in our public network, you've seen 2G, 3G, 4G. You don't see anybody changing the towers or changing major change on the coverage. It's just an upgrade, sometimes software, sometimes hardware. So we believe the private 5G meets all the requirements for the next wave of connectivity for the industry.
So it's really not about connectivity, it's really something bigger.
It is something bigger. It's a platform for transformation. So.
Very nice. Can you give an example where, or like a real life example where this delivered measurable value?
Sure. So where we have seen, this is private 5G in action. Okay. So this is from multiple industries that are similar to oil and gas, and the last one is oil and gas. So you have operational efficiency in the processes with Lufthansa Cargo, and they are more about logistics and minutes and hours count. So they saw an improvement of 75%. The one I was talking about, the Wi-Fi versus cellular. If you have a refinery or you have an LNG plant and you want to cover it with a Wi-Fi, we have seen a ratio of 14:1. So 14 access points can be replaced with one radio site from Ericsson. How are we doing this? Because the radio site was, or the radio network was designed for coverage. So we make sure that we cover the whole area. And the last thing I want to mention, there is an ROI calculation also on the Wi-Fi. One refinery we replaced, we did the business case. 120 access points were replaced by 3 radio sites.
Wow. The
access points, as I mentioned, interference and stuff, but each access point requires cabling. And cabling in a live environment is, not easy to do and very costly. So that's why this one. This is a global mining company, and they have used the private network. They were pioneer in using private network from Ericsson, and they boosted their operation by 50%. And the way they did it, they had the problems in finding assets, so they were losing assets in the field. They needed coverage underground and open pit. So private network was perfect. They are in remote areas. So that's really a very good example. The last thing is what I mentioned about the turnarounds. Cutting the turnarounds by, it was really a couple of weeks, and that was 30% of the time that took for turnarounds. So we translated the value of this to an ROI for the operational team.
So what does this actually enable on the ground?
Enabling is technically, so it will enable to drive efficiency among the network assets, so you have managed less with better network. Enabling worker safety, so by connecting everything and connecting the assets, you are able to protect the workers by knowing where they are in real time and knowing where if there's man down or there's gas leakage. So this is the second one. And third one is a financial. So we address the 3 ways of consolidating technical and operations and worker safety.
So where do you start? You start big, small?
No, that's very, very good question. A lot of companies decide to start big, and this is a kind of top-down approach. And we have seen some of our references doing that. What happened after a year or more, they did not see adoption among their organization. So they went back with us and saying, the engineers are not using the network. They're still using the old pen and paper. They're still using the old Tetra. So we recognized the issue, and we went back with them, and we established an R&D center. Not an innovation, but an R&D center, where we bring our industry ecosystem partners with use cases. We test them in the field. We bring the engineers with their pain points. We address them, and then they get to believe in it, so they own it, the use case. and then they go back to the field and implement it. And that was started last year with one of our customers in Malaysia. So this is a real case with a company in GCC. So they wanted to start with a use case, but they did not know which one. So we did a design thinking workshop with them, with their OT and IT team, and we looked at what's the highest value use case for them. So the highest value was they don't want to send workers in the offshore, and that's cost, and then also safety. So we established it, some cameras, 5G cameras, and robotics on the ground. And you can see the pain points was no people on the ground and cost. And that was, the ROI was recognized in 90 days. And then after they got, because this is a shift for the IT and the OT department. This is a major shift. Right. I mean, when cloud came and when now 5G is coming. So to take it, to adopt it and to accept it from management and from the engineers, you really need to see it in the field. So that way we showed the CIO, we showed the CFO, and we showed the engineers that within 90 days, we got you safer and we got you the ROI. Then we work with them on the next phase of use cases. So the next phase, we have come up with like 100 use cases, but not all of them apply to each customer. So we do this, and then we do a roadmap for short term, mid-term, and nice to have. Because everybody wants, I want AI. Nice, we can do AI, but first let us have the infrastructure. When we have the infrastructure, then we can bring the industry partners to start collecting information from your assets, all your assets, not whatever is connected to Wi-Fi or whatever is connected to LoRa or what the workers are doing. So you collect, so now you have a big database of all the maintenance records, all the real-time activities that are happening, and then you start to apply like machine learning and AI. So this is how we see it, and we are playing very much with physical AI, where the robots, the cameras, and the workers moving around to optimize their route, to optimize their work process.
Yeah, I think infrastructure is what everybody forgets about.
Yeah.
It's like, I want that AI. And I'm feeling a little guilty over here because here's my paper and pen right here. So I get that. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I just want to go to at our, let me just go it. If you like to see more about the use cases that we are deploying and doing, we have our booth, 3507, something like that, right? Okay. Yeah, and we are focusing on two activities, the IT use cases and the OT use cases. So the IT, we focus on connected worker and the value. We focus also on the unmanned operation or eyes in the field by using robotics and drones and 5G connected cameras. So you can see the solution with our partners on our booth. And finally, we need to touch on OT. So with the OT, we are working with Rockwell Automation to have this RTU. So it's moving from monitoring to control. So this edge computing device is connected over cellular network, and it's able to be on the wellheads, be on the pump, and be anywhere that you need it to be, sending information in real time. The industry, we have the blueprint. The industry sees the value, but we are waiting to pioneer with one of the major operators. That's my summary, really. It's a platform for transformation for IT and OT. Don't build a silo networks, just think strategically and act tactically.
And for someone who is watching the live stream, they're not here at OTC to come and visit your booth, where can they find you?
At the booth.
And but if they're watching on the live stream, Ericsson.com?
Ericsson.com. You can reach out to me. I can share the information with you. They can reach out directly to me, and I will follow up with them on their questions and anything else.
Perfect. Ammar Sabbagh with Ericsson. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing this fantastic information.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you all.